Happy Prideverse.
Before you start your search.
What is it?
You're being served documents. You're being served documents.
Okay.
Important.
Okay. Hello. Wish, hi. Happy Monday. Happy Meta Monday. Happy Pride. Raise your hand if you've been to a Meta Monday event before. Okay. Raise your hand if this is your first time. Sorry, that's redundant. Amazing. Okay, so many of y'all are new here, and I'm guessing you came because it's Pride. And that's exactly what we want at Meta Monday. We want to see new communities come out, which is why every Meta Monday, Paris, myself, and Catrice, who is in the back there, one of our other producers, choose a theme. And obviously, we chose Pride this month because we're queer. So raise your hand if you're queer, or LGBTQIA+. Slay. All right, welcome. We're so excited to show you what the future of that means, especially in the online world, especially in the metaverse. So that's what this panel is going to be about, and we've got some experts up here who, a couple of y'all have been here a few times. Zemo, was this 1, 2, 3?
I think might be the third time.
A third. Okay, so Zemo is like seasoned. But that also goes to show you, and same with Sasha. Say hi to Sasha. Hi, Sasha. That goes to show you what, a niche but growing space this is, and how there is room for all of us, because we would love some more panelists, no offense, y'all, who are also experts. So we'll do questions at the end, but today we're gonna go through these people. Okay, so once again, I'm B. Davies, one of the founders of Hive Global Media and Meta Monday, which is a monthly event we do here at Famecast. Shout out to Famecast, our sponsor, and also to Startup Starter, who is co-hosting with us this month. They're doing a bunch of tech events in LA. Laurel is such a baddie and in here somewhere who can tell you all about that. And also Hollo, which is, oh, there's Laurel. Round of applause to Laurel. And to Rex, if you see him somewhere over there, he's gonna do some Hollo demos for y'all later. Essentially, if you want to learn how to monetize your AI image, he is the person to do it with. Unless you wanna do it in the Qryptoverse, then talk to Paris and I. It's a whole diverse world out there for monetizing your likeness ethically, safely, but we'll get to that. All right, so to my left is Paris Holland. She's our CTO at Hive Global Media and co-founder of Meta Monday. And then to Paris's left, we have Lauren Desher. I've never said your name out loud, but I know Lauren very well. Okay, I got it right. Lauren is like an AI and VR master and startup founder and just learning every day like the rest of us. And to Lauren's left, we already went over Zemo. No, I'm kidding. Zemo's the co-founder of Seemingly Virtual. Zemo's other co-founder, John, is going to DJ for us later. Sorry, there wasn't enough room for both of you on the panel, but it's okay. You're the talent tonight. Rest up. And then we have Sasha Zaidgalan. Yeah, what Sasha said. Sasha, oh my gosh, when I met Sasha, I was like instantly obsessed. And when I say met, I mean like online, and saw all of Sasha's work. like he's a literal meta master, like signed by Meta. Is that like the proper term? Okay, yeah, like literally Meta works for him. One day. And then to Sasha's left, we've got perhaps the devil's advocate. So Ogi, your last name is Araya, right? Yeah, we really should have practiced this, but this is Meta Monday, it's casual. Your last name, Araya? Aria, yeah. There first. So Ogi has a company called Text Me.
Queer Queens.
Well, Queer Queens, yes, and also an app, which is kind of like the antithesis of metaverse social media, but important in this conversation as we're talking about the future of online queer spaces, because Ogi is creating one that is kind of like taking off all of this stuff we're adding and going back to the basics and creating text-based communities. Is that right?
Yeah, text message based. It's called Overtext.me. Basically, we are building the first algorithm-free, sex-positive, decentralized, non-profit social media platform.
All the buzzwords, and we'll get into that a little bit more. But also, Ogi has a table up near the front where you can learn more about Queer Queens, which is a nonprofit for LGBTQIA and women, and also Overtext. And next to Ogi's booth is Kelly Perez, who has an NFT project that just dropped that is raising money to create a lesbian bar in LA, and it's called Queer Koalas. Yeah, shout out Kelly, shout out lesbian bars, shout out NFTs, they're not dead, we love them. So check out those booths later, as well as the 2 VR exhibits. You can get gay married, LGBTQIA married, and we've got PRIDEVERSE as well on the big screens. And then throughout the space, we have digital art, and a lot of our artists are here today. Raise your hand if you're an artist who has work displayed in our PRIDEVERSE and on the vertical screens. All right, Sam, John, is in the back, Mandy. Okay, and the rest of our artists are virtual, and then some of y'all. Okay, that's it for intros. Let's get into the questions. Paris, do you want to start us off?
In order, we'll start with you, Lauren. So the question is, how can the metaverse enhance the exploration and expression of queer identities compared to traditional online platforms?
Hello. Is it working? Can you guys hear me? Yeah.
I'll give you this one.
We're
Let's switch. Let's switch. This is audio stuff.
Hello. Hi, everybody. So I think one of the main ways that the metaverse gives people a safe space is by the creation of avatars. You can express yourself in ways that you wouldn't normally be able to. And I also think that you can meet people from all over the world. I used to work for a company called Raspberry Dreamland, and essentially this was a space in alt space, which is like VR chat. And yeah, so it gave me a space whenever I was first discovering kind of my sexuality, and it gave me a fresh start. And I think that was something that was really important to me because I grew up in Mississippi, and there's not a lot of gay people there. And
Did you come out in this space?
Yes.
Wait, I came out in the Disneyland fairy game. Is that my thing?
Yeah, it's a blank canvas.
Very meta gay. Did anyone else come out in the metaverse or like an online virtual world? Yes.
That was the time.
Okay. I don't know if this is working. Okay. We just have to.
You're loud enough.
You can just pass the mic.
Okay. Well, hi guys. Well, I think metaverse, especially creating one's avatar, can be very freeing. Because whenever people think about like having an avatar inside a metaverse or your digital likeness, people think you're hiding yourself, you know. But I think differently. I think it's a means to actually express yourself more freely. Because think about, there are so many challenges in real life, you know, besides being judged by people who are around you, or culturally feel like there might be barriers, or even little things like changing your hair color can be, you know, daunting. Like, I don't, you know, so there's even like damaging your hair. But in the metaverse and having your avatar, you can do whatever you want, and you can express however you like, right? You can be whoever you want. And I think that's one way that technology has changed my way of thinking. You know, you're not hiding behind internet or your screen, you are putting your true self forth. Yeah.
Have y'all seen the Black Mirror episode where there's two homies who gang together and one of them presents female in the video game, but doesn't feel like they can in IRL?
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
that is expressing exactly the same sentiment.
Yeah, and you can explore so many different things without too many consequences or damage to, you know, to your physical body or your mental. Like, I think it unlocks the freedom to self-expression. Yeah.
Lesbians will still find a way to mentally and physically damage you. Just say that. Kidding.
Hello. So I feel like technology has created a large acceptance of queer people and ushered in more acceptance of queer people, thanks to like 2D screens already. With like, I was 15 around the time when gay marriage got legalized, and I saw queer people represented by being online all the time and just seeing 2D, you know, the no hate campaigns and all that, and that was like traditional 2D spaces. And I think 2D has granted us so much right. 2D internet has granted us so much right in queer spaces, and I think the 3D internet is going to create something even gnarlier that like we can't even predict now. I think technology like of avatars and VR are going to break people's like identity and really change themselves and see themselves as more multi-dimensional beings than just like their current gender of like, you know, I think like there's going to be a lot. VR still hasn't scaled yet. With there's not a lot of people that have tried on avatars. And have any of you guys tried out avatars like embodied in VR yet? If you haven't,
Raise your hand.
yeah. See, so there's not even enough. Like, you guys have even tried like what it's like to be in a virtual body. And I think at scale, when there is more and more people trying on these virtual bodies, like you'll kind of see your psyche change. It's a really weird feeling of like, whoa, like I'm no longer just this human body. I can be an alien. I can be a robot. I can be.
You can be an alien stripper and a stripper.
Like, just think how like people are just, like, we already have so many pronouns and so many ways we identify ourselves. I think people are gonna understand pronouns and different gender identities even more so in the future, thanks to like avatars and VR. And I think technology has always, I think, aided queer people and trans people, and I think this next phase is gonna be like even better for us, because people will finally be able to have a machine that like lets them step into our shoes and like experience what reality is for like queer and trans individuals, and create that connection.
Okay, that is beautiful. Oh, I can't wait for that to happen. Okay, so Ogi, I know that you combine tech and the queer community and build spaces for both in other ways, over text being one of them. So do you want to, you can answer this however you want, like from an outsider's perspective.
Metaverse definitely adds some layer to the of representation, but it's not like enough by itself. Like with current parameters, like the one big company used to control the all or everything, like the one entity, like the control the all like the social media. We really have to build some alternative economic models. So that's why the decentralized networks so much importance. It needs to be like the transparent and trackable everything. And because like today's world, like shadow banning is like very common. If you share something like so if you're a woman, you can like to be yourself, like you can like to be like your nudes easily, like this. Still so many like the community rules, but they are just driven by AI, but the AI is not still perfect. They have some bias and like some problematic issues still, and we have to really need some like the more transparent, more like the different alternative, like the new economic models to liberate the metaverse, liberate the Web3 world, and so our non-profit works for this. Overtext is working for the contributing increase this.
Could overtext be integrated into a metaverse?
Not yet, but we want to feature all like the metaverse projects through the platform.
I like that. Take it the other way. Okay. Slay, what's our next question? All right, so what strategies are y'all using to make sure that the metaverse is creating even more inclusive and diverse spaces for the LGBTQIA community?
I think community meetups is a big one, and having moderators with those meetups, having a kind of a safe person that you can go to, and someone that's trained for the space. And I think that hosting different kinds of events where people have like interactivity to go and play around in, and 3D models that are interactive inside of it, I think that's a fun way to engage people inside of the space and create this community that's fun, and just people can express themselves and see art and meet other people in the space, especially from all over the world. I think that's the beauty in VR, is that people from places that are other countries where maybe they have spaces that aren't so inclusive to the queer community. I think that this gives people a safe space and they can hear different global perspectives.
Slay.
I think creatively though, I want to speak on the creative aspect of it, because my company and my partner and I do the most is that we want to bring in, and we do bring in, a lot of different culture elements into the virtual environments that we create. I'm Chinese, so I mean, we literally every year we create a new Chinese New Year campaign based on Chinese culture, and we would bring in different elements and we create a whole virtual world out of it. And to me, that's super important, just because I think, nowadays, even though that we are allowed access to so many different cultures and places geographically, but cultural elements can still get lost in translation or misrepresented. And that, like, in terms of the creatives and the visual, I think creating a different, diverse metaverses can make a lot of people feel at home, And I think my grand vision would be create like an entire environment or a space where people can feel at ease, comfortable, feel related to that environment. Ideally, they feel like that's where they grew up in, And I think to me, that's like a personal mission, and I think it's so beautifully poetic, and that's what we've been doing, which is, just kind of tap into different cultures, how that can be digitized, modernized in an authentic way. And representing different cultures as well, But yeah.
Slay. Yeah. And snaps.
So for me, I think just existing in these spaces and be a queer person, like publicly, openly, in like physical spaces, not in virtual spaces, is super important, because we're in an emerging tech space and all this is still new and the community is still really small, and we're kind of like the pioneers of queer representation in these spaces, and we're setting the tone and showing like we're part of the future as well, and like we get to voice our like concerns and our ideas and how we want to proceed with like the collective community, and like just being yourself is the most important thing in these in this emerging tech space. And yeah.
Just
showing up.
Yeah.
All of y'all too.
Metaverse definitely like the contribute to safer environment, but it's like the still not enough. Like the even when we look at the tech world, like it's like the in the United States still like the woman, even like the woman representation is 25%. Like when we look to the CTO, like the 8%, only 8% of CTO is woman, and 5% of SEO are women. And women rights and queer rights is like the actually together contribute each other like that. And this and like this the new world definitely it's like the especially to reach out to young generations more, and the people like the can feel themselves more safer because there's like the more distraction-free zone. It's more like you can set your own rules, and they kind of liberate. And so I am optimistic for the future. This data will change, and the metaverse will contribute to this inclusivity, diversity more, and yeah.
I love that. Paris and I love to manifest things using the virtual world. So creating our utopia, our queertopia, and then seeing that come to light in the real world. I think even if you don't believe in manifestation, you need representation is everything, and to have a space where you can visualize it is very helpful to making it possible in the physical world. And then in addition to that, hire people at these who are working for the larger metaverses, hire people that look like us to work and create those spaces to make sure that we are diverse, that it's not just, our projects, which of course are gonna be amazing and perfect and diverse, but at Meta too. So I think you can do two things: create our own utopias and then make sure we're represented in the larger spaces. Do you have anything you wanted to add?
I mean, honestly, we can go into the next question.
Let's go into the next question.
So for all of you, in what ways do customizable avatars, virtual identities in the metaverse empower queer individuals to express their identities authentically? Like what you can deep dive on your methods of choice, because I know everyone has, AR, VR, stylized avatars, hyperrealism. Like, what's your favorite, and why does it make you feel good? And what would you like to tell other queer people who are just getting started, kind of doing this kind of?
Okay, so I never realized the power of avatars until, so as we said earlier, I got a master's in virtual reality, and I started a VR club in London, and one of the main ways that we met was in VR chat. And it wasn't until I started expressing myself through all these different avatars, started really commenting on my avatars and asking why I chose this avatar, that I realized that there's so much power in the customization that you can have within your avatar, and there's no restraints. I think there's a lot of power to the creator as well. Anything that you want to create avatar-wise, you have the tools to do so. And I think that that's really empowering to a lot of people, because it gives them a safe place to get comfortable in ways of expressing themselves and practice things, and then they can go out into the real world and put that into practice. So yeah, customization I think is just incredibly important, and having a community.
What's your avatar look like?
Yeah.
My avatar? I've had a lot of different avatars. I do kind of go for the cute and cuddly kind of ones, like the teddy bears.
Teddy bear?
Yeah.
So you're still VR chat, but not just teddy bear.
That one, and then I also have a little galaxy cat that has really cool skin where it's constantly moving.
Oh wow.
We love
I like to change it up though.
Yes, cat.
Yeah.
Perfect.
VR cat. Yes. Okay. Love that.
Can you follow that? Can you follow a cat?
Can you follow
Well, I have been following.
What's your avatar?
that's it. You know, I was just thinking it's really sad that I don't have an avatar of myself, and I have created avatars for other people, and I don't have my own avatar. But if I were to have one, I want it to be made of a different material.
What's the material?
Definitely, I just don't want to be like a blob of human flesh anymore. You know, that's kind of boring. Like, there's like billions of other people. Yeah, I want to be like a different.
Transcend the flesh.
Yeah, I want to have different like molecular structure to myself. You know. But going back to the question, sorry, I just realized I kind of jumped ahead too. Like I should have saved my first answer for this one. But it's okay. But I think avatars are so powerful and so empowering, is because it celebrates individual differences and individual uniqueness rather than. Rather than like how you're supposed to blend in. It's not about how you're supposed to blend into a larger crowd. It's about how weird, how edgy, how different you can be, and that's the power of it. You know, I mean, Avatar is drag, so and that's how I think about it. But yeah.
That's actually really funny because I was actually going to talk about I've always wanted to try drag, and I still do, and I will eventually. But my like alter ego drag character should be kind of like an Ariana Grande, high ponytail. Should be serving like high fashion, very like Violet Chachki, like that vibe. But to the point of avatars is, I actually read this report from Roblox that said that 88% of Gen Zers say that expressing themselves in their avatar actually helps them express themselves in real life, and that has actually happened to me. I dress very cyberpunk. That's my whole vibe. And before I had the resources and found all this cool stuff thrifting and all that, I was just dressing my avatar in this cyberpunk style and stuff like that. It's free and it's or part of the game, or you earn the stuff, and so just really easy to find my sense of self and style through virtual worlds that just bled into reality. And so I think it's these avatars are just a gateway to manifesting your real life identity and self. And but so my avatar would either be a cyborg, kind of, if you see some of the pieces back here that are cyber, that's me. I would do a robot, human type thing, or the other version, the yesified slay girl with her high, Ariana Grande, platinum blonde, whipping around. That's
The Bayonetta dance.
Yeah, the Bayonetta. Yep.
Our platform does not directly create AI or VR content, but we feature so many queer artists and their works on our platform, and you guys can check it out.
Okay, but have you ever made an avatar?
Did I? Not really.
I'm trying to make
Not
yours
really.
still.
Paris doing for me.
OG is gonna be one of my models, but it's a lot of trial and error because we were trying to do more hyper realistic, but getting the face right, facial structure, and I've been studying your face for a minute. We're getting there. But I mean, I feel like I say this every Meta Monday, but your avatar shouldn't be an escape. It should be an extension of yourself. I think what people do in the digital space should also reflect what they do in real life, especially if it's something you are doing something you want to do in the virtual world. That to me is the action towards that manifestation in the physical realm. So I think it's powerful in that way, and then also it's just really fun to try a million looks. I like to change my hair color all the time. Yeah, we talked about hair color. Yeah. Every time I change my look, I put it on my avatar first, and then I do the thing in real life. So this is a Barbie dress up for me.
Have y'all tried Dress to Impress on Roblox by chance?
I've been watching you do it.
I
haven't even touched Roblox.
It's the coolest fashion game on Roblox. It's the #1 fashion game on Roblox. You have to try it. It's hilarious because it is so funny. And it's just, you'll see the funniest TikToks, but it's like America's Next Top Model, but on Roblox. Yeah, and so you have 5 minutes to dress yourself. There's like a topic, and you're in a room, and you just like walk around this room, picking out your clothes and stuff like that. And then like you walk on the runway after the 5 minutes, and people vote for you and stuff like that. It's really fun. It gets like if you get first place on it, it's like a Fortnite win. I'm not even kidding you. I literally like jumped from my seat, like screaming. I was like, oh my god, I was #1. Yeah. Yeah, it's like a drag race.
Roblox is so serious.
And the thing is, these girls are like 12 and they're cracked at it. They're just like, they're competitive. Like the chat gets real mean really quick. So it gets spicy, but it's fun. And the girls are really good at it. They're like in 2 seconds, like dolled up. Yeah, definitely. If you're into digital fashion, definitely try Dress to Impress on Roblox. And avatars.
No, I think Dress Up Games was like my entryway into this space, and then I discovered the fairies. But, okay, we have one more question. I'm gonna open up to y'all. This one was also written by ChatGPT, so. What are some effective ways that the virtual communities in the metaverse can support global queer activism and visibility efforts? This is feeling like meta pageantry right now. Okay. Do your best, slay your best.
So I think that creating a global community is the main thing. Like a lot of countries, kind of as I was saying earlier, like in the Middle East and over in Asia, they don't have these spaces for like pride parades and stuff like that. And we're really lucky because we have it in West Hollywood. It's like super accessible for the most of us. Everywhere. Like there's so many events and places like WeHo is literally just like known to be like the gay capital of the world. And I think we're really lucky to have that, but not everybody has that. So I think that the metaverse creates this space where people can come together and just relate and talk about these things. And again, practice it in the digital space and have people to relate to them. And that the more that they practice and talk about it, the more comfortable they're going to be in the real world. And I think that's really empowering to people. Yeah.
That's kind of exactly what I wanted to say, where there are a lot of countries in the world that, you know, queer communities not only don't exist, but also cannot exist, you know. And I think having a safe space elsewhere where people can access and also celebrate who they are is so essential. And that's what really metaverse is all about. You know, everything's community based, and whoever you are, you can always find the community that you can fit in, and that's, you know, and while you are still being a powerful individual. And I think that's like the point of it, and that is how, like, globally, you're basically creating another world that, you know, that you can access to, where it's not an escape, but rather you're getting in touch with other people like you across the globe. Yeah.
So one of the ways, like, I, growing up, learned to accept my own queerness and come to my own realization was through just being on Twitter and like finding other queer people on Twitter and just feeling it's like normal. Like the online world gave me the position to be like, oh, this is just like, there's some gay people everywhere. And in my, where I lived, there wasn't that many gay people, but I feel super passionate about this space of the digital world being a space for queer people to find themselves and find community and learn to accept themselves, because I was born here, but my parents are immigrants from Russia, and that whole space, just being a queer Slavic person, that country doesn't accept queer people. You're put in jail, they're hurt, and so many other things. And so I feel like in those countries and places like that, like queer people have such a hard time to be who they are, finding connections in the real world. And I think like Twitter is there, right? It's 2D, but I think something like a metaverse, like a 3D, fully realistic space for queer people to connect, I think it's just so beautiful to have that for people that in countries that can't, you know, like they literally, if they go outside to a gay bar, like can be hurt, versus like if they go into a VR chat gay bar, like they can live their truth and have that joy and that satisfaction of like, I still have community even if I cannot in physical reality yet. But I hope that, you know, these virtual spaces can then manifest into real life and create more acceptance broader, or, you know, the people that do find community in these virtual worlds then, you know, try to seek it in real life. Yeah.
Slay.
It's definitely like this liberate activism, online activism and offline activism too. It's like it supports each other's, and it's very important. We really need more activism to liberate the queer identities and women bodies, and it's it's like today it's very hard to market something like the sexual related on the online world. But if we reach more people globally, and if we get more support globally, we may have more power, and we can change these things altogether. And so that's why I'm like very excited for this upcoming the new world.
Yeah, and you're using terms like decentralization before, which is huge in the Web3 space. And I don't know if you're using it in overtext, but it can be utilized in the metaverse too, and you're monetizing it, especially using blockchain. I think we're not going to get into crypto, but that's like another intersection there that you're definitely an expert on and experimenting with. In overtext specifically, what are some of the other things you mentioned why it's like better for people to use versus other social media platforms? Like no ads, right?
Yeah, no algorithms, no personalized ads. We will not like show the ads based on your data or based on what you are doing, and it's very liberated, like the sex positive environment, because we will not use the AI for the moderation. AI can help, but always the real human people will take decisions to if something needs to take it down, and it's like the community project. Like it's maybe collective for all women and queers led by women and queers, all queer queens, or non-profit.
Amazing. Yeah, I'd love to see those aspects integrated in metaverses like Roblox or Meta, etc. But until then, I think that's why we have to build our own spaces and communities and businesses. And plug for Hive. Paris and I have been working on Qryptoverse for a year and a half now, doing research and development to make sure it's ethical and to come up with ideas such as like, do we want to utilize decentralization? Do we want to make the collection data elective for people, which we decided yes. Things like that, I think are inherently like activism, creating your metaverses with that in mind, and creating, if you're utilizing someone's likeness, how can they make money off of that? Like what Hollo's doing, like what we plan to do is Qryptoverse, using, helping real sex workers create safer jobs for them in the virtual world that they can still make money off of. And, thinking about diversity in every sense of the word and how that's represented in our metaverse, in our avatars. So I think, if you don't see it on the current platforms out there, collaborate with people in this room and let's just build our own. Anything to add, Paris, before we open it up to y'all? That's good.
That's good.
We're good.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any questions for people in the audience? Oh my gosh, John. Yes.
I can sit over here. Hi. So I'm John, but I
Or
guess
DJ later.
yeah, yeah, your resident DJ. But I guess I have a question around like the aesthetics of queerness, like what you guys think about like. So in my opinion, I feel like queerness is often overly sexualized in the terms of the aesthetic that it kind of delivers in terms of these worlds or online, or even the way you interact with people, like you're kind of like interacting with torsos, you know, if you want to go into like chat rooms and stuff like that. So I guess it's like, how do you guys imagine the evolvement of a queer aesthetic in the digital world that isn't overly sexualized? Like, what does that look like to you, or is it even more sexualized? I guess is like, what is your idea or approach to that?
I think there has to be a balance, because obviously there are a lot of people who are very sexual, and that is what they want to exude even in the digital space. But yeah, we do have to find a balance, because you're right, it can be too much on the other side of the scale. I think that's another reason why we need more people to embrace having different avatars, and being okay with like just being unique and not worried about like what the status quo is. That way you do get those people that they're not going to lean all the way to hypersexuality. They're thinking bigger than that, like, you know, cyborg, mecha suit, you know, they can be anything, but they're not going to gravitate towards that. They're going to actually think about that creation part. I feel like doing hypersexual stuff is easy. It's a little bit easier. I mean, you can do it tastefully, obviously, but yeah, I've seen a lot of online queer spaces that are like really, like, woo, okay. I mean, have fun, but you know, like balance it out, soften it up a little bit. But also, I think a lot of those people that we're talking about that will balance the scales, they're not on there yet. They don't really know about it, so it's kind of up to us to make those spaces and bring those creatives in so that we can get that kind of balance.
I think that it kind of comes down to just having a lot of different diverse spaces and being clear about your message and your intention. I'm actually working with a venture capital fund right now, and I'm seeing a lot of spaces, and I'm really trying to encourage people to be clear with their message and have intentions. Some spaces, I think it's important to have more casual meetups and spaces where people can just be themselves, and then I also think it's important to have more like nightclub scenes and stuff like around topics around like kink and stuff like that. So I think just branding kind of is everything, and being clear with your message.
If I was really thinking on that question, I think the aesthetics are going to get more and more individualized. Like I feel like it will be like one person, one trend kind of thing, you know, because I think the whole thing about metaverse is that there's no real estate. You wouldn't, if you want to do your own thing, you can be in that safe space and you can do your thing, you know, whereas in real life you can't have an event without, you know, being rough on the neighborhood of the neighbors, you know, but in metaverse you can have a space that has nothing to its pool right next door, you know, so so I think that aesthetics wise, you know, it will be very individualized. Like you can literally be anything that you want. So each person per trend, you know, you don't need to, like, you don't have to be like, oh, we're all at school, so everybody wear uniforms, you know. But I mean, I don't know what specific aesthetics might evolve into, but I think that's might be like a general direction how it might go. But yeah.
So one of the pieces will probably come up in a second, or that I made for this, I was really thinking like, how do I design it in a way that's like shows queer love but not hypersexualized, or just a little bit more mundane. And the thing I settled on was just like cuddling. I feel like that was just a super simple thing that people can relate to, and like everyone's experienced that, like this one right here. So it's just really like, it still shows queer love and it's still unique and still has that, but it's not like pushing the like they may be ripped and touching each other's bodies and I don't know, whatever. I think, but I still want to explore hypersexual art, because I think like sexuality is liberation, and just having, you know, both spectrums of things, of like the mundane things like holding hands or cuddling, or just making art about that, but also like the crazy hot shit of like, I don't know, I think there just needs to be a balance, you know. I think I think if I was in the super queer space, I would go for the hypersexual, because I think of what's like the leather daddy art. What's it, Tama Fin. Yeah, Tama. I love Tama Fin art. I think it's just so beautiful and interesting and like that. But it's like I feel like there could be more of that. Like you don't have to go Tama Finland. You can go, what's like this PG version of Tama Finland. I don't know. I think there's just ways to like do different types of art, but like base it off of like things like the historical queer art that's already been before, and like what's a newer interpretation of it. And we get to decide that, we get to design the aesthetics.
I believe women should have their decisions they should be able to want to do whatever they want, like with their bodies and with their representations. But the traditional online platforms, they don't really like to take a lot of this, and they don't take this risk. They are very scared of liberated women, and that's why we are today. We are still discussing like about the abortion rights, still like some other things, but it's like it's a step, and we are going there.
Yeah. I think just to add on to what everyone is saying, I think we're creating Prideverse, we're creating Stripperverse, we're separating things. So we're creating an environment that is for that hypersexualization, and there's going to be space for queer people there. But also, where we've created a metaverse that is Prideverse, and there's like one stripper pole in it, just for funsies. But like it's not a hypersexualized environment. It's a sex positive environment. There's definitely a difference there. But then you look at seemingly virtual Zemo and John's creations, and they were working on a Prideverse 2 that was just this rainbow garden. So just having more creators creating in these small intersections will lead to that. And it's like, if you want the Stripperverse, you can do that. You want to have your tea in a rainbow garden, you can do that too. Whatever, you can have it all in the metaverse. If you, who wants to get married? And then to add on to what Oki's saying, at the same time, there's a difference between liberation and exploitation, and I like that. I think we're all looking at sexualization in the metaverse from a different lens, and from one that is empowering and the opposite of exploitation. So, good job to us. Oh yeah, one more question. And we're gonna wrap it up. Got some.
Oh no, I don't want to be like the last question.
Save the last.
So I was thinking a lot about avatars and the dress-up game stuff. I used to do a ton of that on Girls Go Games. I don't know if anyone remembers that. Shout out. But for example, I think that as expansive as avatars can be, I've also noticed a lot of limitations. I mean, think of the first screen. Are you male or female? It's can we transcend that? Also another thing is I used to play Animal Crossing, and for example, I used to have a lot of acne, and I remember I was I want to put acne on my avatar. Why not embrace that? And so I wound up being able to find a custom thing. But I think when it comes to the avatars, I think that there's still a lot of limitations in place. For example, you don't want to be cookie cutter, but then there's been an issue I feel with skin tones as well. You see 50 different colors of beige, but then there's 2 darker skin tones, and it's what do you do if that doesn't fit you? Or with fashion, if there's a limited range of even clothing, So what barriers do you think are most important to kind of break to be able to really get expansive with your avatar in things like the metaverse? So yeah.
I can go first on this one. So I actually went, I had a school project where I explored this topic. It was a startup studio. I looked concept-wise, but the problem I found was exactly that problem. Avatar creators are very limited, and thinking about the developers and resources to create a more inclusive avatar system is super hard. Developers are, that, and so the solution we thought of was like, okay, well, we have all this like AI stuff, booming. Like our project concept essentially is like, I think the future of avatar creators is this like mid-journey on steroids, right? Where it's like, you can upload a picture of yourself and it really like fully recreates it. It's not like an interpretation. It's like one-to-one, or uploading different things, like concepts you find on like Google or whatever, and you're like, hey, here you go, and it just does it like that. So that's where I think like the AI personalization can really solve for that. So it's like the universal, like I Ready Player Me is like kind of sort of doing this, but not really. If you've done that, I think if like Ready Player Me integrated its super AI customization tool, like there's so much possibilities for that. But we still have a lot of time to go until something like that is possible to integrate into all of your virtual worlds and be represented the way you want it to be.
It's a lot of developer work, pretty much. So my biggest thing is I've learned to make all these kind of avatars, but yeah, like skin texture, hair texture. Most importantly, the hardest thing for me to make has been hair, and I had to scour the internet to find people that actually made like black textured hair and learn to make it myself, which still I'm still taking that course. It's still extremely hard. But when you look at your basic avatar builder, it starts with male or female. Sometimes I see them say non-binary, but even then there's sliders and like limitations to what you can do with the body shape. Hair texture, everything. So there's got to be a way where you can create those assets, because they are 3D assets and they do take time. They're like a physical mesh, virtual mesh to put on an avatar. There has to be a way to, I guess, make them quicker and more specific. But yeah, that's where I see AI would come in. The AI 3D stuff right now is really messy. I've definitely played around with it. You got to do a lot of cleanup. It's not even remotely game ready, in my opinion. You can make some visuals with it, but that's. I'd probably say in maybe the next year or two, it actually will be at a better point. But that will probably be the best way. Otherwise, doing this stuff from scratch takes a really long time. I've learned to make skin, clothes. I just barely found avatars that are in the plus size category, actually in the plus size category, not like, still waist snatch, typical like IG daddy body, which is there's another example of just boxed in limitations, but actual soft body physics, like tummy and stretch marks and all that kind of stuff. Even like people who are disabled and stuff, like how are they able to make avatars that reflect their true selves? Because you can make an avatar, but like if you're disabled and you want to reflect that, you can't even do that. So that's a whole element that still needs work, but I do see AI being the way to like kind of get at least a starting point, and then if you're a creative that knows how to do 3D assets and stuff, you can go off of that and make something as specific as you want. And it's accessible and not really difficult to learn either, because doing this from scratch is a major learning curve. It's not beginner friendly at all, but we could get there. I think we could get there.
All right, thank you. I know it's a long panel, but I think we had fun, and we're gonna have more fun now. We're gonna have a live performance by Jamie in the back there, followed by shout out Jamie, followed by a DJ set from John, and we're gonna have VR and drinks throughout. So let's kiki. Excellent.
And yeah,
1, 2, 3, video.
You can maybe get